I've received some feedback about my video on parking the car and the power of celibacy. And so I wanted to do a follow-up video to give you an example or illustration that will display the danger of crossing the line. And it's my hope that it blesses you the way it's helped me. The ultimate goal in life is for all of us to show up whole and complete. That's the ultimate goal. We should be whole spiritually, emotionally, financially, mind, body, spirit. We should show up in spaces whole. And when a whole person meets another whole person, you have a healthy relationship. All right? This is fundamental. I'm going to come back to this, but it's important to know that our ultimate goal is to show up in spaces whole and complete. What tends to happen is people show up whole and they link with people who are incomplete. Maybe they have some work to do in certain areas of their lives, spiritually, emotionally, financially, mind, body, spirit, off, whatever. And they connect with people in these spaces and they're not complete. And so when these two people connect, it lays the foundation for unhealthy relationships. I'll come back to this. If two people, let's say they're both whole, come together and engage in sex with one another, this person, when they engage with sex with this person, crosses the line. And this person, when they engage with sex with this person, crosses the line. Some of you said, Dr. Zeb, I've been trying to be celibate, abstinent, trying to withhold from doing that, and I messed up. Can I recover? This is what messing up looks like, because it is a lot easier to untangle this when you've only messed up once or you've messed up maybe twice. Okay? Is it a little tangled? Yes. Could there be some type of connection or bond between you and the other person? Whether it be legit or superficial? Absolutely. But this is not very tangled. But what happens, if you will notice here, is that the more you have sex, the more tangled you become. And this is why it is important for us to understand that engaging with sex or in sex with someone else is a spiritual exchange. How do we know? Well, when you've done this, all of a sudden, the picture gets a little bit more blurry. Now, there are two ways we can look at this. The picture gets a little bit blurry because there's been a consistent spiritual exchange between two people. That's one way we can look at it. Or this could actually be healthy when it is between two whole people who are maybe, say, in covenant, right? In covenant marriage, or two people who have been in a relationship for a very long time, who have grown to know one another and are on the same pages and headed in the same direction. Now, I know you spiritual folks, that's going to kill you. But I happen to minister and help people from all walks of life. And the reality is a lot of people are having sex before they get married. And while you can have an opinion on that, we all have opinions on that. We all know spiritually what that means. At the end of the day, the difference between this being blurry and healthy could very much be contingent on the future plans between these two people or the covenant relationship that they are in. This is why, if you've ever seen two people that have been together for a long time, if you've ever heard of people looking alike because they've been together for a long time, married couples that have been together for a long time, people in relationships that have been together for a long time, you often hear they start to look alike. And this is why. Because anytime you exchange sexual or spiritual energy, you start to become one big picture, right? And you look the same. Now, let me say this before I switch. This is incredibly difficult to untie. This is what makes recovering from divorce so challenging. This is what makes recovering from relationships where you've been in connections with people for a long time so challenging. And there's been physical intimacy, because untangling this is a whole lot more complicated than untangling it when you've crossed the line once or twice. Again, proving that this is a spiritual exchange. But I'm going to go back to the previous diagram. What tends to happen with most people, and what I tend to see through a lot of my work, is that most people in relationships and couples show up like this. You have one whole person, and you have one person that's not quite there, and they cross the line. Now, when they cross the line, notice that the person that's whole has a whole lot more room to cross the line. The person that is not whole does not have as much room to cross the line. This is a classic example of an unhealthy relationship. And what tends to happen is the whole person in this relationship or connection or situationship that has crossed the line sexually with a person who is not whole will find themselves feeling incomplete, will find themselves not feeling fulfilled, will feel like there is a bond there, but something's missing. Meanwhile, the person in this connection who is not whole and complete might be able to offer some sexual connection, might be able to offer some exchange to the other person, may have some things to bring, but because they are not in a complete state, they are operating from a place of deficiency. This is also a reflection of a diagram that might reflect a hot and cold relationship, because the person who is not whole and complete sometimes shows up hot or cold and fluctuates back and forth because they really don't have a lot to give. Now, I will also say this. I get a lot of questions about toxic relationships. And my friends, this is the epitome of a toxic relationship. Because in a toxic relationship, you can have a whole person and a person who is not whole or complete. They have linked and engaged spiritually and exchanged energy spiritually through sexual relations. And sometimes the only thing that keeps them glued together is the sex. Because this person really doesn't have much to give to a person that's whole and complete. And so the whole and complete person will be thinking in their mind, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I can't get over this person. I'm whole. I have all of these things to offer. The only thing they really have to offer is a connection through the little bit of what they bring to the table. And I don't know why I can't shake it. The reason you can't shake it is because you've got all of that going on in the middle. The goal is to show up here. And this is why celibacy is so important, because when you show up whole and complete, and both people show up whole and complete, and they're able to sustain this and hold on to this, then when they bond, doesn't matter how often they bond, how long they bond, hopefully they're bonding in a covenant relationship or covenant marriage. When they do that, then this bond is going to be able to stand the test of time because they're both showing up whole and complete. Sex is a energetic, spiritual exchange between two people. And if you're not careful, you will find yourself in a situation like this, where when it doesn't go right, you have to untangle all of this just to come out whole again. I hope this made sense. If it did, do me a favor. I want you to type church in the comments with 3 R's. And then remember, you've got 2 jobs. 1, be better today than what you were yesterday. And 2, don't forget what I told you.